Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today on AB's World. I'm your host, AB. I created this podcast to put some light and add some inspiration to all my listeners around the world. I'm so grateful that I have 14 countries listening to me. I haven't made a podcast in approximately 3 weeks. I've been working on other things. My passion is to spread awareness to as many people as possible and have a bond with my listeners and try to get more listeners by creating new content and having a better understanding on who my audience is. It is difficult for me to find my niche when I'm still finding out who I am along the process. I know who I am as a man, but sometimes I don't know where I stand in society. Modern day society is extremely complex with numerous issues that all have to be addressed, but I don't have time to discuss all of that right now. Right now, I'm just talking about sticking to the plan. I don't believe in plan B, okay? I'm a very hard headed person, and I've been like that for so long. And I think one of the things that I need to work on is to listen to what other people are saying, even if I know what works for me, right? If you don't like something and you know that, hey, this is not working out, or, let's fix some things, I think it's really important to always have an open mind to the possibilities that, we have to collab and work with other people. And I think that sometimes when you have a chemical imbalance like me, severe ADHD, it could be difficult to listen with other people. And working with other people can be difficult because you're always the one that has these ideas. You're always the one that's in charge of talking or doing X, Y, and Z that many people just don't want to do, or they don't feel vulnerable enough to make this type of statement, or it's absolutely crazy because it doesn't make sense. But to them, that's how they see things in reality, even though that's not how reality is, but that's their reality. So I think that there's so many um, pros and cons with living in modern day society with this type of condition. What really excites me is that I like to try new things. I like to experiment things, even if they don't make any sense. I always like to stick to the original plan. And sometimes it can be difficult to stick to the original plan because you need to work with other people, you need to collaborate. And I don't like to tell my business to everybody. I don't want the whole world knowing, what I got going on next month, because if I start telling people what that plan is, it will never happen because I waited and I worked so hard to get to where I am when it comes to that specific plan, not with everything. So I think it's super important to collaborate, to be mindful of your audience. Having ADHD in a big city like New York is absolutely torture. I always viewed myself as somebody who can always be an asset. For one reason, I may not have any information regarding, what's going on in current events or sports, or, even though I work out all the time, I don't know everything. I have very broad information about numerous things. But what really keeps me going is energy. I'm grateful that I'm the type of person that can just go with the flow in the day without being tired and having to run at 1:30 in the afternoon to go want to get that coffee. I'm so glad that I'm not that person. I'm so glad that I don't have to go get a Red Bull, to be hyped at a ball game, or I have to smoke going to a concert, or I have to drink to get girls at a bar. I don't have to do any of those things. That comes within confidence within yourself. Stick to the plan. You know, it's hard. It's hard to fit in because, a person like me is just so awkward and interesting and distinguished. There's not many people like me out there in the world. And that goes for everybody, by the way. That goes for everybody. Everybody is authentic. There's only one of you. Remember that. Remember, there is only one of you. And you have the power to change your whole way of thinking, your mindset, your goals, your relationships. And I'm doing that right now. And every single night, it's depressing. It's hard. It's sad. It's crazy. It's merry-go-rounds. I don't have that bread. I don't have that house. I don't have that car. I don't have that business. I don't have that woman. I don't have many of those things that a lot of men have that are my age. But you know what I do have? I have my voice and I'm able to change things. I know that there is hope. I'm just so anxious that it's taking so long because I've been working on so many different things. I'm still sticking to the plan. My plan was to do my podcast. My plan is to keep making episodes. Even if I don't have any listeners, I'm still doing it. The fact that I'm still vulnerable and I'm not afraid to speak to millions of people, regardless of who's listening and who's not, I know that I'm still able to speak. So many men that are in business are afraid of public speaking. I don't understand why. There's so many people cheering for you out there. There's no reason for you to be afraid to speak in front of thousands of people. If anything, you should be excited to share your ideas with them and see what other creative things that you can come up with. Thomas Edison did invent electricity, by the way. So, or it was Benjamin Franklin. I'm not even sure. One of those two. So we are right now in 2025, and it's a 1 week away. We're going to be in the ninth month of the year. That means there's only 3 more months left to 2025. And there's not a day that I wake up and I don't think about the future and sticking to that plan of doing this great podcast and doing my real estate thing and really trying to find the right niche and my clients who I could have a bond with and who really could use my services. That's what it really is. It's really about not just building relationships, but keeping them. Building a relationship is easy. Hey, nice to meet you. I do real estate. I have a podcast. I'm from New York. I love to work out. And my favorite thing to do is to go to the gym and go bike riding in the summer and to listen to some great music. And I love to read when I am home at night. That's me. And I love eating all types of food. That's really it right then and there. And that's how I would start off a conversation with somebody or somebody's talking to me. Last week I was in Starbucks and a lady just came up to me and we just started talking. We had a lot in common and we both love New York. We both know that New York is changing for the worse. I don't like to talk negativity on my podcast, but it's the truth. We all have to keep in mind that New York is not what it once used to be. We have to be vigilant. We have to be alert. We have to be assertive at all times. You need to be aware of your environment and where you're about. Okay? Because anything can happen at any time. So I was sticking to the plan. Hey, that's so cool. You're an interior designer. Boom. I do real estate. This is the company I work for. Boom. I started talking to her. Not every day somebody's going to go buying a $4 or $5 million property, but when they do, you need to be there and you need to be ready, and you need to be right by with them on by their side 24/7. You got to make sure that that transaction goes smooth. Like I said, I may not know a whole bunch about the markets and everything, but I do know that, the interest rates are being cut. I may not have, headphones. I may not have the whole studio. I did start this 2 years ago, and my goal is to invest into a great microphone. And when I move to my new apartment, I want to make that into a special home studio as well and make it cool. Make it something where people are going to want to engage with me. And I also have to do a lot more work. I understand that I can't just talk and expect people to listen. I got to give some value and provide, not just provide value, but provide some enthusiasm. Okay? It is my responsibility to make sure that this podcast is successful for me and people are listening and understanding my true message. Because when I talk to my friends about my podcast and I speak to people about it, people, number one, don't really know me, number one. Number two, I'm still working on my networking skills. Like, I know that I need to work on closing. I know that I need to work on becoming a better listener. And I need to work on becoming better with strategies. Listening is difficult for me because I always think that I have the answers and I really don't, because I'm not listening to what the other person is saying. So I don't really know what problems they're having because I'm too busy trying to listen to what they're saying, and I already feel like I have the solution in my head, but I really don't. So that is something that I'm aware of. Okay? I mean, it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. It depends who you ask. I also wanted to say that I was in New York City today and I had to take care of a few things, and the weather has been absolutely beautiful. I'm rocking today with my blue polo, and there's nothing better than walking out of your house on a Monday with a blue polo and black shorts and your black Skechers because you're so comfortable. There is nothing better than that. I promise you that. Now I came home. I had a late lunch, and I'm gonna go to the gym as soon as I end this call. I mean this podcast. See, I even said call because I already had it programmed in my brain that I'm speaking to somebody. So I try to be as, not only do I want to be authentic in AB's world, but I also want it to be like a deep podcast. I want people to really like have a vision of what their plan is and actually stick to the plan. If you need to make some changes, that's fine. It's so difficult to have a routine, to stick to a schedule, to stick to um cooking, calories, weighing this, weighing that. Nobody has time for anything, right? We only have time for the things that we care for. But imagine you actually stick to a plan and you actually had a vision. You think I weigh my calories? Hell no. Do you think that I watched a million YouTube videos trying to learn? No. I learned from trial and error, and I learned from the people around me. And it's really difficult for me to watch a few videos when I'm in the gym, when I'm constantly talking to a million people all day, when I'm trying to close my first deal, and I'm also, not only am I doing that, I'm trying to make some money. I'm trying to hustle out here. I don't got time to go listen to a whole bunch of YouTube videos. And I think that as time goes, I'm trying my hardest to change my mindset because that's not the type of person I want to be. I want to be a person who's willing to expand and open up his mind and grow. The reason why I say I don't want to really learn a lot on YouTube, and I love YouTube, is because I'm the type of person who'll be on the playground all day. Whether it's bike riding, at the gym, trying to be as athletic and active as possible. And that's just how I am. I don't think, for a person that's very hyperactive like me. They need to be, strictly doing something physical, whether it's a martial arts or, you know, I started taking my fitness very seriously as soon as I quit the post office, and I already see a difference. And I was speaking to my mom today, and the hardest thing is for me to cut out rice. I don't know what it is, but I absolutely am having a hard time. It is addiction. I'm an addict. What can I say? That is something that I need to work on because when I'm at doing martial arts, I feel like, and I'm doing anything, I know I have inflammation in my body. I know that's something that I'm trying to tackle. Okay? I'm not perfect. My skills is not perfect. My form is not perfect. I'm literally learning as I'm going. Every single time I go to the gym, I realize all the mistakes with my best friend who I train with. And I realize, okay, look, he's telling me this, and then he'll show it to me like 100 times, and then I realize what form I'm doing and how it's wrong. And unfortunately, that's what it is. It takes so much trial and error just to learn one thing. So imagine you having a chemical imbalance where you're constantly on the go, talking to people, emailing, you're reading, you're on the train, you're listening to music, you're walking, you know, the dopamine is real. I see so many people saying, okay, look, wake up at 4:30 in the gym. I'm telling you right now, I've woken up even before 4:30, and I'm telling you, I could be at the gym at 5. Okay? I don't really know if it's like who shows up first per se. I think that if you could have a routine that works for you and you build around it, you build your legacy, you build your empire, and you start telling people who you are and your product and everything about you, your vision, what are you doing to contribute? People are either gonna, you know, they're gonna rock with you, support you, or they're not. So life is a race. It is a race, but it's your race. The point is not to look and see what other people are doing. It's so you could be the best version of yourself tomorrow. And that's something that I struggle with because so many of my friends, they have cars or they have this or they have that. You know, people living in Manhattan in penthouse that have dogs that have this. You know what? I don't got none of that. But at least I got peace of mind. At least I get to come home late at night or whenever I want to come home and I get to sleep normal in peace. I don't have to deal with any of this nonsense. And I'm single in one of the greatest cities in the world. I'm still trying to find my other half. Coming from the Jewish community, finding a lovely woman, my other half is difficult when I'm so authentic. I'm not just going to settle for any girl because somebody said, oh, I think you should marry her X, Y, and Z. She's a nice girl. Nice doesn't do it. I went out with plenty of nice girls in the past and it didn't work out because I've seen, as time went on and on, some strange behaviors that I was not willing to entertain. So, this is really what it comes down to at the end of the day, right? Stick to the plan, be ambitious, and always, always keep going. Okay? There was never a time in my whole life where I ever gave up on anything. Okay, I may have paused for a long time. I may have stopped because I get distracted. And one of my challenges, I cannot focus on one thing for too long, which is something that I need to work on. And I'm aware of that. I'm totally self aware of what I have to do to go to the next level. I don't have to call anybody. I don't need to talk to anybody for clarification anymore. As long as I'm confident within myself, we good. And this is what it is at the end of the day is building with people that want to see you win and go to the top. And sometimes it's hard to get money when you got to hustle out there and people just don't believe in your vision. I feel that. I feel that. I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are really close to me who don't really know me and say they know me, but they don't know me. There's a lot of frauds on the streets. And I say that every single podcast. The frauds are real, okay? I mean, the frauds are fake. They're out there. So you just got to keep going, and you really have to stick with that plan and don't back down. I will never work for the post office again because I know that post office job took a toll on me mentally and made me a bad person. It made me do bad things, things that I don't like doing. It made me a person that I wasn't happy. It made me, a slave for no reason. I don't need to be a slave to any corporation, okay? I understand what needs to be done. I need to work harder on my podcast. I need to talk to more people so I can get sales. And I need to continue being myself and working out so people can look at me and say, look, I'm going to take this guy seriously. Also, I wanted to say something. 3 years ago, when I finished my barbering school and I moved out, I'm actually, I'm going back to take the state exam because that's going to be my new day job. And I'm going to, tomorrow, that's my plan. That was my whole plan all along. I just went to the post office so I could pay my bills. That was the whole plan, was to be a barber, 2, 3 days a week. And then I do the real estate and the podcast. That was the plan. Okay? I have to stick to it. Excuse me, my intentions was never to really do anything else but that. So this is what really makes me excited, is to actually know that I took action when I wasn't happy at the post office before it's too late. Nobody wants to be in a corporation at 45, you know, in their mid career and just leave because, you're going to have to start over somewhere else, whatever. Don't do that. Make mistakes, recognize them, and realize, look, I fucked up. One thing about people with ADHD is they're very good at recognizing patterns. I'm great at understanding what self sabotage is about because I used to do it all the time. Do I still do self sabotage? Yes. But that's something that I know can improve as time goes on. Like, I'll literally, per se, I'll apply to any job because I don't think whatever is on paper is actually what the person is. So many people lie in their resume. So many people can use AI. Who the fuck needs a college degree in 2025? You just gotta be creative, use your brain, and think out of the box, and go network with people. Yes, it's that simple. It is. The thing with me is, I never used any of these to my advantage, so I self sabotage the entire time. I could have been wealthy if I invested Bitcoin when my best friend told me to do it. See, that's an example of self sabotage and me being hard headed. It's hard to listen. It's hard. It's hard to listen because you think that you know everything. Sometimes you don't know what's best for you. Sometimes your friend that thinks that doesn't know your situation actually is just looking out for you because he's actually giving you a good idea. That's the psychology behind self sabotage, is that you think that you know what's best for you at that moment. Sometimes you really don't. Sometimes it's difficult to go with your gut. Sometimes you go with your gut and the outcome is really, really, really bad. And you should have just stick to that original plan. That has to do with self sabotage and not quitting. Ever. Don't ever quit on anything. Don't ever give up on anything. I don't care if you're just about to start the business. I don't care what it is. Don't ever give up on anything. That's one thing about me. That is my biggest strength. I never gave up on anything. It took me 7 years to freaking pass the math section of my GED. I never gave up. I don't give a fuck if I should have gotten it at 18. Drake got his GED at 26. Everybody is on a different level. I don't give a fuck what modern day society thinks. I don't care if these girls are bougie, shaking their asses on OnlyFans, want some bread. I don't give a fuck. Okay? I don't give a fuck about nobody. I just care what's in my checking account. I care what I'm eating. I care about the people around me. and I care about what I'm going to do tomorrow, and I'm sticking to the plan. I don't care about anything else. Politics is crazy. The streets are ruthless. Politicians are corrupt. They're getting paid by big donors, and the whole entire system is fucked. Why does anyone even care at this point? Why can't people just worry about themselves? We know the MTA is bad. We know that this is this. We understand the whole entire. Why do we have to know more than what needs to be revealed? Okay, it's great. I love exposing the truth. But sometimes the truth doesn't need to be exposed because people are already exposing it. We don't need to know more. We just need to work on ourselves, our character, our demeanor. That's all. We have to make things less complicated than what they already are. The world is already a twisted place and a dark place filled with demons, evil people. Okay? It is our responsibility not to be those or to be affiliated with that. By working on ourselves. Watch your process and trust the process. That's my slogan, by the way. Watch the progress and trust the process. And I appreciate you listening to AB's World. I hope that every single podcast that you guys listen to adds something to your day, whether it's some positivity, inspiration, or a laugh, the way I speak, the way I deliver my message, or just makes you smile. If you're walking in the park, you're listening with your headphone, or you're with your dog, whatever you may be doing. Thanks for listening, and see you next time. Bye for now.